What's happening? Welcome back. Season 2, Beyond the Fairway podcast, presented by Genesis. You see these two handsome faces. Dougie Fresh, Will Lowery. Look, coming up, tap it in today with us right here, Beyond the Fairway podcast. We got the man, the myth, the legend, funny man. He won the 1996 U.S. Open, but it was in a movie, so I don't know if that counts. Peter Jacobsen, he's coming by here to go Beyond the Fairway. We're going to talk players, our picks for Valspar, but Will, before we do all of that, you got to go to some hallowed ground down in Georgia this week. I ain't talking about Augusta. Where was you at, man?
Man, I was in Cobbtown, Georgia. Cobbtown, Georgia, where the birds fly upside down.
Cobbtown, Georgia. Why do they fly upside down, Will?
Because there ain't nothing over there worth shitting on. However, there is a beautiful course in Cobbtown, Georgia called Old Hoopy. Larry Fitzgerald invited a lot of his friends out to come play. You know, he had his Minnesota friends.
Oh, so you qualify as friend? Okay, just making sure I understand.
I think I had to, get the state, disparity equal. His one North Carolina friend, and just represent North Carolina. That's all.
Okay, I got it.
So we were there, and it was a beautiful, unique course. Like the owner built the course for his friends, and you can tell it was a course that was only built for his peers. And I had a good time, man. The lodging was beautiful. We were there for a day and a half or so, and we just got all the golf we can get. And we were back. But the funny part, Doug, is by being in the middle of nowhere. So not to name drop, but I have to just to show significance of how
You're
scared
Will Lowery,
we were.
of course.
So it was Andre Roberts, Kyle Fuller, and Bryce Butler, all NFL guys, and we were traveling into the premises at 2:00 in the morning, out in the middle of nowhere. We all caught a flight to Atlanta, traveling to this place by 2:00 in the morning. When I tell you, these dirt roads were so scary, like it almost said "Negro don't come here" type signs. It was like, be aware, we got guns. Like it was like those type of signs. So when I tell you how these guys are so tough on a gridiron, man, we were scared. Like just as a traveling golfer, we know when our spider senses go crazy. Like this ain't the road for us.
Well, I tell you what, I'm jealous because all I got to do was hit some golf balls. But been working the move, Will. We got some tournaments coming up, U.S. Open qualifiers, APGA events, out there working the move. But, it wasn't as scary as what Daniel Berger, Joel Damon, and Victor Hovland almost got into at the Players on Monday, yesterday, Will. I find it very interesting. We all know that when you hit the ball in the water and it's a red line, you get to drop at its point of entry. The rule is, Will, you got to consult with your playing partners. Well, Daniel Berger, your playing partners did not agree with you because you tried to take a drop some 60 yards ahead of where they thought. And then rather than be like amenable, Will, like, you know what, I'm gonna listen to my partners. I hit it back here. They had a better sight line.
Oh no.
No, this fool gonna argue, Will.
No,
he was like, no, this ain't where I hit it. And then at the end of the day, like, Victor Hovland is the nicest guy on tour, Will. He's the nicest guy. He don't want no smoke.
He got a nice face. Like he didn't cuss his mom out when his mama tried to throw him under the bus last year.
Right.
Right. So he got a
Mama
nice
called
face.
penalty on him. He's still happy.
Lost money.
The nicest guy on tour was like, nah, bruh, you got to go back. And that's how you know Daniel Berger was in the wrong. When you got two of your playing partners, and then they try to talk to the rules official.
Right.
Like he called mommy in. Like, mommy, they're being mean to me. Daniel, come on, man. You don't learn that at Florida State.
What makes it funny is that, I love the thing about Joel Damon. He wasn't letting up. He was like, bro, this is what I saw. And even Victor Hovland was like, there's nothing you're going to say that's going to convince me of what I saw. You're not going to. I know sometimes eyes can be somewhat of a trick of the mind. But those guys stood steadfast.
No,
and
perfect.
I guess we can say we know this. Joel Damon and Victor Hovland would not be invited to Daniel Berger's birthday party. We know that. There's no way.
Hey, the funny thing is I can't wait to see all of them on the tee next time or the practice tee. I bet they're going to look at him like, there go that dude.
But it makes you wonder, like,
Dougie,
it makes you wonder, like, is it a week-to-week thing to the point to where when you have an issue like that, and the following week, you may see him in the at the snack bar in the bathroom. Like, are we still beefing? Are we still mad?
No, I don't think it's going to be a beef. I think they'll get over it because it was too much money. But one thing I do want to mention, Will, and that I think is imperative in this moment, is Joel and Victor, they protected the field. And I think that's something that we need to, like, applaud them for. It's like, you have to protect the field. There's too much money. I mean, Cam made, what, $3.6 million? Second place got $2 million and change. Like, you got to protect the field, right? So Daniel Berger, we've got the Shanks now. We're going to do a Shank of the Month. But you are a candidate for that, and that's a fact. But look, Will, go ahead.
Oh, I was saying, speaking of protecting the field, this damn weather, Mother Nature protected the field this week, or maybe hurt the field. I don't know. I don't know. But
last week they was complaining at Arnold Palmer because it was too difficult. It was too hard. Then they get to TPC, and then you got Brandel talking about the hole needs to be modified. Shut up, Brandel.
Yeah, that's tough. You know, Brandel said a quote that, you know, it made me think. You know, he said great water holes are meant to be tempt but not tortured. And so I don't know if I feel sorry for the guys. Like I don't know if I feel sorry for all the stuff that those guys went through, because they look human. And Doug, is there a bit of satisfaction in seeing those guys struggle?
Absolutely. No question. It makes you feel like, you know what?
Do you feel sorry for them at all?
No, hell no. Like last year when Brendan Todd hit Shank over there by the tree on 17, I thought it was funny. It's good TV. It's good theater. He was nervous. He was shaking. He was up there trying to get his palm. No, I enjoy it. We saw Brooks, Morikawa, Scotty Scheffler, Harold, Justin Thomas, all of our heroes hit balls in the water, and it humanized them. And you know what? Ain't nothing wrong with that damn hole. They've been playing the tournament there since 1980. And guess what? It ain't changed. It's the same damn difference. Now, would I shoot a number like they shot? Absolutely not. But we can talk about that for another day, Will. But I want to see guys shoot, 5-6 under every so often, right? I don't want to see, like Cam Smith. Shout out to Cam. He shoots 34 under at Century. And then now, he comes here, he shoots, 16 under, 15. I can't remember what he shot yesterday. I feel like that tournament was like this long. But I want to see him go low sometimes, but I also want to see him fight par.
I don't think we should only see pros struggle one time out of the year at the U.S. Open. Give me some tracks that I know I can have access to, and let me watch you struggle. Let me watch you, cry and moan. And I think that brings everybody, I think that makes the game more relatable.
And they got 16. You got 16 birdie hole. You get there in 2 with a good drive. And then you got 2 of the hardest holes on the golf course in 17 and 18. I like it, man. I like it. But I tell you who also liked it, Will, and that's Cam Smith. Like, this dude, Will, went out there and got it. Like, I love that. He went out there and took it. Like, 10 birdies in the final round. I mean, I guess home course advantage, right?
Home course advantage, man. Think about it, man. When you see a player, when I saw him go 4 for 4 in birdies, only 4 putts the first 4 holes, that's when I knew this might be a special day. Like
101 putts for the whole week. Come on.
His mullet was going to be in the wind just a little bit different than anybody else's, So I appreciate that good golf. And the thing about it, though, you saw the roller coaster of emotions in a round. He the first 13 holes, he had so many damn birdies, but he also went through a little stretch from 7 through 9 where he bogeyed as well. So you get to see how a guy, the recovery percentage, and how, one of the greats to ever do it. But out of 13 holes, man, he had 1 par. 1 par, Doug. Yeah. 3 bogeys, but 1 par. That right there, he's a player, man. He's a player.
No, he's a player, and he's a player's champ. He's a player's champ.
That's true.
That's what he is. Matter of fact, we got a picture of Cam holding up the trophy, Brian. Let's go ahead and show. Hey, okay,
that's funny. That's
Cam Smith taking the Players Trophy here at TPC.
Hey, so how'd you pull that one off? Because that was so stupid.
Hold on, bring it back in here. Let's see Cameron Smith's trophy.
I wish I had my hairline. I wish I could have my hair like that. So.
Oh man, he got it flowing. He went from dreads to mullet, man. That's awesome. But hey, look, without further ado, it's time to go beyond the fairway with one of Will's favorite. Is he one of your favorite? Probably your favorite person. He's up there for you, Will.
He's my favorite person in golf.
Favorite person in golf.
And in life.
And in life. Will's life coach and swing coach. Kinda. Sorta. Hey, let's get to it. Peter Jacobsen. Let's go Beyond the Fairway. Presented by Genesis. Beyond the Fairway welcomes in special guest. We call him Uncle Pete, Peter Jacobsen. Mr. Jacobsen, what's going on, man?
I'm good. Doug, Will, good morning. How are you guys? Great to be with you as always.
Yeah, you know, we were just together 3 days ago in Naples, and now you are in a house that is warm and cozy. And you got great lighting, by the way. So that means it must mean there's snow outside.
There is snow outside. I was with you in Naples. We did an incredible event at the Old Collier Golf Club in Naples for the Immokalee Foundation, which is an amazing organization. As you know, golf's the only sport that can do incredible things for people through the game of golf. I flew up here to Westchester, New York. It is, as you said, the lighting is great because there's snow everywhere outside. And I'm up here visiting my daughter and son-in-law and two of my grandkids. And I'm actually heading out to a golf course today to go take a look at possible renovation of a golf course. So I'm warm right now, but I'm in for a cold, long, wet walk on 18 holes of golf.
Well, make sure you bundle up. Peter, I want to start in 1996. I'm going to tell you why I want to go there. Because you actually won the U.S. Open in 1996. It was on 10 Cup in a movie, but best finish was a T7 there back in '84. How was it fake winning the U.S. Open?
That was a great experience, guys. I'd never done anything like that before, and there were probably 10 or 12 of us, maybe 15 of us that were asked to be in Tin Cup with Costner and Don Johnson and Rene Russo. Ron Shelton was the director, the great Ron Shelton. And we showed up. We didn't know what to do. We didn't have any lines. There was no script. All he wanted us to do was to do like we would at a PGA Tour event, mill around, hit balls, chip putt.
That was perfect for you.
It was perfect for me because no lines, because I'm about the least scripted guy I know. Me and Will Lowery, we're not scripted. But it was so much fun, and it was great because how I ended up winning the tournament was classic. We're sitting in a room, and Ron Shelton said, "Hey, who can be here on Thursday, July 12th?" And I put my hand up, and he goes, "Peter, you're going to win the U.S. Open because that's the day we're shooting the final shot." I went, "Okay, I'm good with that." So there was no shots to be hit. There was no money exchanged. It was just that. There's nothing shady about it.
You know what's so funny, Peter? I've watched that movie 12 million times. Now I'm gonna say this: I only see the end of the movie one time. So by the time you say the famous quote, "I think we're playing for second," I'm done. I cut it off because I can't get through what Kevin Costner's character did on the 18th or the 72nd hole.
Oh, I'm the same way, Will. When I knew the ending of the movie, I didn't like it. I thought it was a cool movie all the way up to that. And then, first of all, who's going to hit a ball and it's going to end up 3 feet from the hole on the final par 5 of a U.S. Open and have it roll back in the water? Not going to happen. So, yeah, I'm the same way. But it was a great experience to be on a movie set with these actors. Again, we had no lines. They had lines. I've got to tell you one situation that was classic. Somebody who doesn't know golf. So there was Costner and Don Johnson were on a par 3 tee, and I was on the green of this par 3 hole, and the scene called for me to make a 30-foot putt, turn around, wave to the crowd, turn around, and point back at Costner, who was on the tee. And I said to Ron Shelton, I said, nobody would ever do that. Tiger Woods, Jack Nicklaus, Will Lowery, Peter Jacobsen. We wouldn't do that. And he goes, well, this is not reality. This is entertainment. So I said, okay. So we set up Costner and Don Johnson on the tee. I'm on the 18th green this par 3 with Jerry Pate. And I have to make this 30-footer up over a rise. And I said to the second director there, I said, you mean you want me to make this putt on cue? He said, yeah, you're a pro. You can do that. I said, how many times do I get to do it? He said, well, just do it. You're a pro. And I said, sir, if I could make this 30-footer up over a rise on cue, I would own the world. You would never have heard of Tiger Woods or Jack Nicklaus. And he says, well, let's give it a try. So action, I hit this putt, miss. Take 2, hit this putt. Finally, after about 10 putts, I turned to the guy and I said, could we get to a makeable range, please? So we had to halt production. Costner and Johnson were on the tee going, what's going on? I found an area about 8, 9 feet straight in. I hit it a bunch. And it went in. I said, okay, let's do it. And that was the range that I hit it from. I did make it. And of course, like an idiot, I turned around and I pointed back at the tee. And but that was a crazy scene that took 2 hours when it didn't have to.
Yeah, shortly after that is when I used my VCR remote and turned you off. But that's when you made your debut and got your IMDb page. But now, I want to know, what got you started in the game of golf?
I was a caddy. My dad was a Navy man. He flew off the aircraft carrier Intrepid. He was a torpedo bomber in the war. And during the war was when he really started to play golf, started to learn how to play golf. He started as a caddy himself in Portland, Oregon, and he progressed through the game that way. He had us start as caddies in Portland, Oregon. And through that, I started becoming interested in golf. So it was really through learning the game from the hole backwards rather than from the tee to the green where I learned how to play. I learned how to make putts, learned how to chip, learned how to hit shots. And my game progressed from there. But it was all with a bag or two, sometimes going double, caddying on golf courses for money, making a little money. Wasn't a lot of money, but it was a little money.
All right, so hold on. Now I have to ask you, Will. So, all right, you've played golf. You've won over 18 championships, Peter, in your career. And then it's like you just go to TV. Like somehow magically Peter Jacobsen's like, hey, I've done movies now. Come on, give me some TV. So how was your transition from the on-course stuff to being back on course as a talent?
It was one of those things, Doug, that came out of nowhere. I was about 26 or 27, and I was playing the tour, and I got a call one day from Don Ohlmeyer, the great TV executive with ABC, and he said, how would you like to be a color commentator for the Skins game? And I knew of the Skins game. It had been on for a couple of years. The one where they played Jack Nicklaus. It was a foursome, Jack, Arnold, Gary, and Lee. And they said, would you go to Palm Springs or Phoenix, wherever it was, and jump back and forth and interview the players after they win a skin? Well, of course, I'm going to say yes. Yeah. It's an opportunity. I didn't know what I was doing. I figured I would learn. So I went down there and started doing that. And that's how I got into TV. So I ended up moving up into the booth with the great Vin Scully. And we always had Bob Goldby on the golf course, and Jack and Arnold and Gary and Lee and Tom Watson over the years. They would play. We would talk about it, much like calling live golf today. And it was exciting. Everybody was mic'd. There was a money value on each hole, 20, 30, 40,000, whatever it may be. And it was fun. And it was over Thanksgiving weekend. So that was how I got my start in television. There was nothing planned. So I got to it early on, and then I just kind of transitioned from there.
Peter, so Doug and I, we always try to bring a nice little scratch and sniff when it comes to, this television thing and broadcasting space. And, Peter, I hate to say it, but we try to follow in your footsteps. You're one of the most colorful personalities on tour, or whoever who had played the game. And so we're wondering, what some of the
Don't
attributes...
say we. Hold on, I'm not in this. Will wants to know. Will,
don't front, because you always be asking me, hey man, what would Peter do right here? But you know what Peter would do, right?
Man, why you put me on blast?
You got WWJD, you got WWPD, right? But so what are some of the characteristics that, like, it would take to be a good, I guess, on-course commentator coming from the game itself?
I think the most important thing to realize or to understand about you, whether it's you, Will, or Doug, is that we choose to do this. We choose to do what we're doing right now. And that's what bothers me when I'm watching live golf, like I did the Arnold Palmer Invitational last week from Bay Hill. You see players getting so upset, and they're throwing clubs, and they're all ticked off about how they're playing. I want to reach down through the television and say, remember, you choose to do this. You want to be here. So grow up and act like you want to be here, because there are millions of people watching. So I think that passion is what comes through with broadcast. It's what you guys are doing right now. You both love to do this. You're both good at it. When we were talking at the American Century Championship in Tahoe, when I first met you, Doug, and we started talking about things like this, I think it's passion. You can tell when somebody's sleepwalking. You can tell when they don't want to be there. You can tell when they don't care. But both of you exude the excitement and the enthusiasm that is needed to be on television. Again, whether it's Dan Hicks, Jim Nantz, Steve Sands, Paul Azinger, Nick Faldo, whatever it may be, there has to be enthusiasm for your craft. And if you don't have that, it's pretty easy to see it, because the viewer's going to turn you off or grab the remote and change it. But it's so fun when you hear the excitement in a broadcaster's voice that Tiger Woods just won the Open, or Will Lowery just won the U.S. Open.
The screen door open.
That is what's needed
Peter,
to be able to entertain. That's what it is. It's
Peter,
entertainment.
Peter, I just paid my U.S. Open entry fee for the locals. I like that foreshadowing right there. I like that. As we kind of move forward, talking about excitement. I don't know if the mood was similar when it comes to the Pebble Beach. Your last time playing Pebble Beach this year. Talk to us about the emotions that you may have had.
I was so fortunate to win the senior U.S. Open in 2004, the year I turned 50. I had played in U.S. Juniors, U.S. Amateurs, and U.S. Opens without winning. But that happens to a lot of people. So for me to win the U.S. Open in 2004, the U.S. Senior Open, was a thrill. But I think the greatest win emotionally for me was back in 95 when I won the AT&T at Pebble Beach. And the reason being is it almost feels like a second home to me. Growing up in Portland, Oregon, my family and I would drive down to Pebble Beach at spring break, and we'd throw our clubs on our shoulder. We'd play 36 holes a day. And we just fell in love with Carmel Valley. We fell in love with Monterey and Pebble Beach in particular. So anytime I go to Pebble Beach, it feels like I'm going home. And I've since lost my mom, my dad, and my younger brother. But my sister and my older brother are still alive. And whenever I go there, I always think of them and all the fun we had as a family. So years later, when I got my card in 1977, it was the first PGA Tour event of my career. And that was very special to me because of family. Then I won in 95, and Fluff was on the bag. I got the trophy from Clint Eastwood, Dirty Harry. I mean, how cool is that? So as my career progressed to where I no longer played the AT&T, I always watched it. I always wanted to be involved in the event. So after I played with Jack Lemmon, the late great actor, for 20 years. And then when he stopped playing, I played with Huey Lewis, the great heart of rock and roll, which is still beating, Huey Lewis and the News. We decided to go back one last time 4 years ago, but we didn't make it. Something happened. We ended up not going. Man. So we went this year and we played. I had no chance at the age of almost 68. I knew I was going to struggle probably to break 80, which I did. I did Shot 81, 75, 74, I think, something like that.
I'll take it.
But I had fluff on the bag. I had a chance to play with and see so many close friends. So I went out there not for golf, not for competition, but for the historical feeling and the nostalgia one last time. So it was a real special week. I can say now that I played on the PGA Tour in 6 decades, 70s, 80s, 90s, the 2000s, the 10s, and the 20s. That means nothing to anybody else, but to me, it's kind of cool.
Hey, pass me one of them exemptions then. You got all the tournament directors then. Come on, let me help me out, Pete. I still got a little game. But you know what's funny? I got a 2-part for you because it's like, as I watch golf evolve, Pete, you've been around the game, you said 6 decades. I mean, you've seen this game from, guys making no money to guys making too much money. Let me say this first in this first part of this question. How spoiled are these tour players nowadays versus the guys when you were coming up?
It's interesting you say that because a lot of the older guys my age, we talk about how pampered, I don't know if spoiled, pampered, I don't know if those are the right words, maybe fortunate that they are. When I first started playing the tour, my wife and I got married and we started driving on the tour. We didn't have any money. We drove from tournament to tournament. Contrast that today with players that a lot of them fly commercial, but a lot of them fly privately because they have the money to be able to do that. So I call that fortunate. We didn't get free range balls. We had to buy our range balls.
Come on, man.
Hold on, Peter. Hold on, Peter.
Man.
Whoa. Wait a minute. So you mean tell me at a PGA Tour event you had to buy your range balls?
Yeah, I knew you guys would come out of your chairs at that one. So when I would go to the range with Mike Cowan, Fluff.
What year? What year are we talking here?
Well, I started in 77, so this is 77, 8, 9, 80, 81. And I don't think we got range balls for free till probably the early 80s, maybe close to the mid 80s.
Oh my goodness.
So we would always take $2 or $3 and we would tuck it in our pocket because when we got to the range in the morning, we had to give the $3 to get our bucket of balls. Believe that or not, it's true.
Facts.
And then we would also have, if we wanted to practice afterwards, we would have an extra $3 to be able to get another bucket. Now, nowadays, when you go to a range, there's golf balls spread all over the place.
Oh, man.
Oh, my God.
Guys get balls for free. But when we would finish, if I didn't hit all my balls, I'd put them in my bag. And it used to drive Fluff crazy.
I was going to say it's going to piss Fluff off. Fluff was pissed. He's like, damn it, Peter. Damn balls, man.
Don't you want to warm up and hit a few more of those wedge shots to get rid of those damn balls? But
that has to realize, like, when we talk about commissioners, Tim Fincham, all the great things he did for the PGA Tour. Jay Monahan, what he's doing for the PGA
That's
Tour.
Dean Beeman back then.
Yeah, we got to give it up to the commissioner that allow you guys to get free golf balls at the driving range.
And Will and Doug, I got to tell you, sometimes when we go to these clubs, as you know, growing up, playing public golf courses, playing anywhere we could, the old cracked yellow balls, some of the range balls that would go, yeah. Those were included in the balls that we would hit. I'm going to give you one more. When I first started playing the Masters, my first Masters, I believe, was in 1980.
Man, how much were those golf balls?
Just kidding. No, we brought our own.
Oh, okay. Oh,
we brought our own. I used to have a little FootJoy shoe bag full of balls. We would drop them on the range, not the new range, the practice facility that the players use. We used the 2 little ranges right on either side of Magnolia.
He over here talking like we've been there, Will. He's over here like pointing it around.
I have not touched a blade of grass on Augusta National.
Well, I ain't been to Augusta, Georgia.
Well, we have to change that. I'm going to make that my personal goal that the 3 of us are going to get there to tee it up.
Exclusive.
We'll do that.
You heard it here first.
But I would drop the golf balls. Fluff would go out 100 yards, and I'd hit 5 or 6 sand wedges. I would do this, and he'd go back. We had a routine. It would go back to the 9-iron. Then he'd go back to the 7. Then he'd go to the 5. And then it got hairy when you're hitting 3-woods and drivers, because don't forget there's 12 to 14 to 20 other guys out there. So the stories of guys getting beaned by an errant 3-wood or a blocked 7-iron, they're so numerous. So believe me, back in the day, things were different than they are now. So I will use the word fortunate. The players today, very fortunate.
All right. You know, Peter,
spoiled. Spoiled.
Peter, you just mentioned like the player today. Obviously, you were a fan favorite. You had personality. Who would you say right now would probably be as equal to you when it comes to, playing with the crowd, being on the range, entertaining, and just being loved by the fans? Who would you say?
Well, that's what concerns me. When I grew up out there on tour, we always gravitate towards somebody who's like us. And I gravitated toward Chi-Chi, Trevino, Fuzzy. We were the kind of players that we relaxed ourselves during competition by engaging with the crowd. In fact, Trevino taught me a great lesson one time. We were playing a tournament, and I tried to be Tiger Woods focused, Ben Hogan focused. And I was playing horribly. And Trevino said, you can't be somebody that you're not. You need to be the same person on the course as you are off the golf course. So he said, be you. And he told me a story that it takes a minute to hit a shot. So you're Lee Trevino, you're gregarious, you're talking to people left and right. And then when you get to the bag, you pull the club out, it's a 7-iron, you're focused. You hit the shot, the ball's in the air, it's gone, it's on the green. The minute the club goes out of your hand, you're back to being you. So it wasn't as tiring for me trying to be Mr. Serious for 18 holes of golf. So I learned a lot from Trevino. I learned a lot from Fuzzy, Chi-Chi, how to let loose. Jim Thorpe, one of my close friends, who we used to have so much fun, John Mahaffey. I worry today, Will, that we don't see those type of individuals because it's become a serious business. As you know, I think the players are playing for $20 million at the Players Championship, $12 million at the Arnold Palmer Invitational. So we don't see
I got time to be nice.
The Chris Rocks or the George Carlins or the Lee Trevinos or the Fuzzy Zellers anymore because everybody has to kind of stay in their lane, unfortunately. So I can't answer your question. I don't see many of the gregarious people out there, although there are some really great people that work with the crowd. Fowler, Justin Spieth, Jordan Thomas, Rory, Peter Malnati. These guys, when they're done with their round of golf, they do spend a lot of time engaging with the crowd. Phil Mickelson, very much like what Arnold used to do. But on the course from 1 to 18, wow, those guys are focused.
Peter, the second part of the question I wanted to touch on earlier, and great follow-up there, Will, was I feel like, and I'm going to take it here, Will. I feel like we saw more black players back in the late 70s and 80s than we do today, Peter. When we're talking about growing the game, you're talking about being authentic. I mean, that's what Beyond the Fairway is all about, being our authentic selves and bringing golf to the masses in a way from a different clubhouse, as Will likes to use. When we're talking about growing the game, not just amongst minorities, but in general, what is it that you have hung your hat on in this effort to make golf look like America?
That's a great point. When I started on tour, I played a lot of my golf with the great Calvin Peete. Calvin and I were great friends. Pete Brown, Charlie Sifford, Jim Thorpe, as you mentioned, Rafe Botts. There were so many black players out there. And I think back then, the great thing about golf is it's a score. It's a little square on a scorecard. And is it a 4? Is it a 3, a 2, a 5, a 6, whatever it is? And I think back then, I think black golfers struggled to play country clubs. They struggled to be accepted in the game. But on the PGA Tour, didn't matter what the color of your skin was. It was what you shot. And I always think about Dr. Martin Luther King, what he said, let's be judged by the content of your character, not the color of your skin. PGA Tour in golf is all about the score you shoot, not the color of your skin. But we need to be better with accessibility and getting more players into the game. And Will and I right now sit on a board of a group called the Golf Diversity Program, where we are not necessarily trying to identify the next Tiger Woods or the next Annika Sorenstam or the next Renee Powell. We're trying to identify people that are leaders in the game, the administrators, people that create events, that manage players, people of color integrating into the game more at all levels across the board. So I think that's a really good way to start to change the game of golf and to make it look more like the world we live in. But it is a challenge for us all to do that. And again, I go back to like I said, Calvin, Pete, and I used to play a lot of golf, a lot of practice rounds. We used to gamble, try to hustle people. And, it was one of those really special times that we need to get back to.
I want to know when the last time you saw Calvin Pete miss a fairway was. May he rest in peace. I mean,
was it 1970?
I was low white guy in accuracy on tour because he won the fairways hit in like 8 or 9 years in a row, and I was right there number 2 along the way. So I don't want to break it up into color categories, but I was always the most accurate white guy. We always celebrated Calvin Pete. That man was incredible hitting the golf ball. Now, putting, we all know you putt good, you win. You don't putt so good, you don't win. Calvin Pete, he didn't just hit fairways. He put it on the sprinkler lines. He could knock down flags better than anybody, I think, probably in the history of the game. You ask anybody from my generation, they'll tell you the same thing.
Well, I'll tell you, after last week's Players, he got himself one. And Will, Will and I talk about this often. And, a couple of weeks ago, we had Arnold Palmer's championship. And, who did more for the game, Arnold Palmer or Tiger Woods? When you stop and think about it, because you got to see both players' impact. I think of there's no Tiger without Arnold as it relates to the sports marketing, the Mark McCormick, IMG, et cetera, et cetera. As you look back, Peter, what do you think there?
Well, I think as we get further on in our lives, and obviously as we get further on in our life, I think you'd have to say that Tiger has done more, for the game simply because we are in the now. If we were to go back to Arnold and what Arnold did for the game, that was the advent of television. And all of a sudden, these PGA Tour events weren't just played in Cleveland, Ohio, and Los Angeles and Miami, Florida. They were on TV. They were in everybody's living room around the country. So that was the explosion of Arnold Palmer. But the explosion of Tiger Woods is more than an explosion. It's a nuclear explosion for Tiger. And I remember I remember watching him at the U.S. Amateur in my hometown. It's kind of a funny story. Tiger won his 3rd U.S. Junior in Portland, Oregon. I was with him at the dinner the night before. He won the U.S. Amateur, his 3rd U.S. Amateur in Portland, Oregon. I was with him that week. And I just knew that this young man was going to break records. He was a special kid, as you well know, just recently inducted into the Hall of Fame. But I think what Tiger has done, he's brought all people together, seniors, juniors, men, women, white, black, Asian, Hispanic. He made people realize that it is just a score. Or maybe there are a lot of idiots in the world that don't understand that yet, but we're working there. But I'm a huge Tiger Woods fan. I like him as a person. We're friends, but I admire him. I admire him so much for what he's done for people, what he's done in his foundation. I said earlier, there's no game like the game of golf that can do so many things for charities and for people that need our help in the country. And Tiger Woods is right there. He's one of the most important people, I would say, easily on the Mount Rushmore in the game of golf.
I wanted, to mention the Tiger Woods interview that Curtis Strange had. So Doug, just recently, Peter just spoke that we're at the Immokalee Foundation down in Naples, and Curtis Strange was there, and that was my first time meeting Curtis, and I couldn't really catch the vibe. Like, how friendly? Can I be with Curtis? And if Curtis is mad at me, will Peter pull Curtis off me from beating me up? I didn't know yet. So I want to ask Curtis so bad, that interview, when he kind of snarled, I don't know if snarl is the right word, but when he kind of was taken back, when he said, how many times do you think you can win or what have you? I mean,
I just watched it a couple of days ago. He told Tiger said he came to the tournament to win.
To win,
it was like
right.
his first
it's not
event.
that easy. Yeah.
And Strange was like, that's kind of cocky. Oh, no, you'll learn. I feel like Curtis Strange should issue a public apology. That was some bullshit. Well, that was some bullshit, though. I'll be honest with you.
Completely.
That was cold-blooded.
So that's what I'm like. So I'm mad at myself because I didn't step up and because, I'm always quick to square up and not blink. But I was scared. So Peter, have you ever busted his balls over that, or that's something you gotta stay away from?
Oh yeah. Now Curtis and I go back to college days. He and I are very, very close. We both live in Naples. We both play at the Old Collier Golf Club. We were together with you, Will, at the Immokalee Foundation. I was with Curtis the next night as well at a fundraiser for Operations Healing Forces. Another great charity that benefits our military. But yes, Curtis, you have to understand, when Curtis was playing the tour, he was a prickly dude. He was focused. He was no nonsense, no BS. It was all about winning. So when Tiger said, oh, well, don't worry, I'm going to come out and win, that was exactly Curtis's attitude. And we all kind of give him a hard time because we always say, Curtis, that was the way you were. Why can't you give it up to a young man named Tiger Woods who's exactly like you? So, yes, Will, if when you get back down and we have a chance to play more in Naples, we'll get out with Curtis. You will love Curtis. He will love you. And he loves getting his balls busted because he's going to come right back at you, too.
Perfect.
Believe me.
I got to watch that. Put a camera on.
I call him a filet mignon on a grill, kind of tough on the outside, but soft as can be on the inside.
Yeah, I'm just making sure that you'll pull him off when he's beating me up. That's all.
I tell you what, I think Tiger deserves more credit for not getting pissed off. That would have fired me up. Tiger had the poise of a very, very seasoned veteran in that interview, because I would have been like, who the hell are you talking to, Strange? What the hell is going on here?
Well, I will say this. We have never seen in the history of the game, maybe in sport, somebody who has more cameras and more expectations and more stupid questions thrown at him like Tiger Woods. Yeah, Tom Brady, Michael Jordan, Muhammad Ali, talking about all the greats of the sport.
All these greats.
Tiger Woods, as I said, I admire him so much because the restraint he shows and the poise that he has in these situations of stupidity, dumb questions. People say things like, Tiger, welcome to the 2019 Masters, or the 2010 Masters. How you playing? Well, I'm playing great. That's a stupid question. I would say that on a daily basis, 90% of the questions Tiger gets are stupid. 10% are relevant and appropriate. But again, the way that he treats people and the way that he treats the press, I'm telling you, nobody has that type of conviction to that poise like Tiger.
Well, I hope that Tiger go ahead and uses Uber more often, or a driver or a chauffeur as he continues in to make his comeback. Peter Jacobsen.
Doug,
we got. All right,
No, Doug, was that a Genesis? Was that a Genesis push right there?
No, that was just Tiger should stop freaking driving.
Oh, okay.
I feel like all the Tiger Woods stories start with a car. So it's like, dude, just let somebody drive you, bro. You don't have to drive anymore.
Hey, Peter, we got Genesis as a sponsor, so we're always trying to figure out how to plug them in. I thought that was a perfect mode. Go ahead, Doug.
We got to send you out of here the only way that Will and I know how. We call it Rap Foursome right here on Beyond the Fairway podcast. Peter, you're going to go play golf with 4 rappers, so you're playing a 5-ball. Okay? I need to know, Peter Jacobsen, who you pulling up to the course with?
Well, first of all, you guys know being an older white fella, rap came along about when I started having kids. So I've got to go with the first rapper that my son ever fell in love with, and that's Eminem.
All right.
I actually really like Eminem. I love his music. Now, he may be a little controversial, but I love Eminem.
And for the record, Pete, I don't know any rapper that's not controversial. Keep going.
Well, that's true. That's a good point.
Eminem.
Number two, I would say probably Dr. Dre, simply because I respect his business acumen. And the funny thing about in my world, being a golfer, I'm always concerned with what's going on inside the ropes, my scores, my twos, my threes, my fours, my fives, sometimes sixes. But I've always loved to know what's going on outside the ropes, the business aspect. So I would say Dr. Dre. My third one would probably be Snoop Dogg, because again, I think Snoop has fun with who he is. He doesn't strike me as being serious. I know his music is serious. The message can be serious, but there's also a lot of playability in his music and with the way that he presents himself. But number 4 is the guy that I absolutely love, and it would be Will Smith. I know maybe he's not a rapper in your sense, but he's an entertainer. He's an actor. He's a singer. He's a musician. He's a golfer. I met Will when he played at the Sony Open in Hawaii years ago. Great guy. But I just, Men in Black, the way that he presents himself. So maybe those are loose definitions of rappers.
I'll take those.
But I think those guys are really great entertainers. And in my world, they're fun people.
Well, you better be careful playing with Snoop. I know that. You better be careful, Peter.
And Peter, how you are in business, man, I would love to see you and Dr. Dre in that foursome. I would love to be a caddy in that one. Just to see how you guys talk and how.
Well, no, you're not a caddy. Maybe we'll add you as a fifth.
There we go. Will Lowery jumping in here to rap foursome today. Okay.
You know, Will, if you wrap us on out, then I'm going to put you in that fivesome.
Okay. Well, I'm sitting here thinking about the days. I got Peter Jacobsen. We about to exit on Beyond the Fairway. No.
Okay.
Business. It's me, you.
All right, good. You're in.
There we go. There we go. Hey,
Will Lowery making his rap debut right here, Beyond the Fairway Golf Channel, NBC. Peter Jacobsen, man, I've had a blast with you, Pete. I hope we get to play soon. I want to. There's more I want to discuss with you, and we'll bring Will along. You know, got to. I'm kidding. I'd be the third wheel there. I'd be the third wheel. I can admit it.
That's how you do, Pete. That bus, hey, that Genesis bus that he run over me with all the time. Sometimes he just don't know when to back up and let me stand.
Sometimes I back him up. I got it, you know. No, I'm kidding, man. Look, Peter, thank you so much for joining us right here on a Monday post Players Week. Appreciate you.
Hey, I love you guys. I love being with you. Your show is fantastic, and let's keep fighting the good fight.
Well, like Will would say, there you have it. Peter Jacobsen stepping in, going Beyond the Fairway. Just a reminder, Beyond the Fairway is presented by Genesis Motor America and the first ever GV70. Dynamic design and exhilarating performance make the game your own. Will, you talk about somebody that makes the game their own. Peter Jacobsen does just that.
Yeah, man, his personality carries over decades. You know, I mean, hell, he's been in game professionally for over 6 decades. We counted
6 decades, cuz 6 of them.
6 decades, cuz
I can't even get one start. This motherfucker done 6 decades. Sorry.
Let it go, Doug. That's what Beyond the Fairway.
I'm upset about.
That was a little personal. Like damn, Uncle Pete, we gotta.
I just want one.
Yeah, no.
Let me just get. Let me get one.
Hey,
like all these
talk about
minority exemptions. Let me get one. Like, you know what I'm saying? I can finish last too. Shit.
Talking about code switching. Damn, Doug. Get off Uncle Pete, man. He do nothing to you like that.
That's the dude, man. I love Uncle Pete, man. Shout out to Uncle Pete. Good.
Hey, but I tell you this though, Uncle Pete, you know, when he talks, he has a cadence about his voice that people listens. You know, and every time that he gets into a conversation or get into a whatever he wants to talk about, we're going to stop and listen. Uncle Pete has some big lungs now. He can go.
Yeah, he can go.
He can go. But it's never not entertaining. It's never not entertaining. So I really appreciate the story of the Tin Cup. Man, I really think there needs to be a golf movie again.
Okay.
We need another golf movie.
I think I know somebody that's working on one, but other than that, I agree. There needs to be a golf movie. Yes. Or screenplay, or whatever the hell it's called these days.
Man, let it fly, dog. Cause you pent up right now. Let all the.
I got a lot of anger in here, man.
We have 7 beeps per episode, and you just took 3. So
I got 2. No, you had 1 today. So all right.
I did.
Yeah, you had 1.
Oh,
you didn't realize it. See, there's 2. All right, we coming back. There we go. Our numbers are back up, ladies and gentlemen. But look, I don't understand one thing, because we all see pampered tour players. They're all out, and they're, they get planes, trains, automobiles. But back in the day, they had to pay for range balls. Well, they had to go and take $3-4 out of their own pocket and pay. And then you gotta, if you don't use your balls, you stash them in the bag, and then the looper gotta take the balls around 18. That's terrible. 18 holes with extra balls for no damn reason. It blew my mind.
Imagine the PGA Tour commissioner as he go into the end of that season, and as he proceeds into the following season. One of the topics of his to-do list, his outline, topic to discuss, is my players aren't paying for range balls this year.
No more.
Look how far we come.
We've come a long way.
We got $3.6 million is the first place prize at the Players, but just 4 decades ago, players are playing for the range balls. Put that in perspective.
Yeah, paying for their range balls. I tell you one thing though, I'm not messing around with Uncle Pete. He made some bold statements about where we'll play golf on national podcast media, and
he did.
Peter Jacobsen. I'm gonna hold you to that one, brother. You can't just come in here and promise two guys that have dreamed about going to Augusta, not hopping the fence, but actually driving up Magnolia Lane and parking in a real spot, playing Augusta National. Uncle Pete, we're gonna see if your word is bond.
Yeah, absolutely. I just went through the throws in the backwoods of Georgia. I would love to go to stop at Augusta this time. I went by the sign. But if I can stop by Augusta and play and swing it a couple of times, I'll Uncle Pete, I appreciate that. But Doug is holding you way more accountable than I have.
No, I'm gonna hold him accountable. No, we're gonna have to do that. No, we're gonna have to make that. You can't get somebody's hopes up that high. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And then just let it. No, don't take the air out of my balloon, Uncle Pete. That's all I'm saying. Valspar Championship coming up this week. I don't know where you're leaning, but I'm gonna go right here. I'm going Abraham Answer to get it done. T33rd at the Players Championship. A lot of good stuff. Playing, shot 3 under for 4 days. Under par round last week. I thought was pretty good. I'm going Abe Answer for the Valspar W.
I'll challenge your Abe Answer, and I'll hit you with a Victor Hovland. Victor Hovland.
That's not the answer.
That's
not the answer.
No, the answer is not the answer. Is what we're talking about.
The answer is the answer. I'm gonna start calling Abe Allen Iverson.
Oh, don't. I mean,
the answer. Oh, snap.
That's pretty solid.
Thank you. I appreciate that one.
But yeah. So Victor Hovland finished T9th this week at the Players in tough conditions, and he has momentum, and he's going into a week. The Valspar where he finished T3 last year. So I'm thinking the true answer is gonna be Victor Hovland with the W.
Well, as long as his mama don't call in no more penalties on his ass, I could see that happening. But we appreciate you rocking with us as always. Beyond the Fairway podcast presented by Genesis right here, Golf Channel, NBC. I'm the fresh one, Will Lowery. You never know what will be next, so stay tuned. I don't know, Will. We're going to pop up wherever we feel like it. That's what we do. Beyond the Fairway. We'll holler at you.
Oh, look at that handsome guy. I think I just enhance Cam Smith looks. I mean, I know he enhanced my body, but I enhance his looks.
Yeah. I'm glad Brian put that back up. Will Lowery. Cam Smith's face. Go over to our Instagram page, Beyond the Fairway on Instagram, and see that, because I'm putting that up today.
But the thing is, he didn't enhance my pockets with me enhance his looks. So that's the bad part.